A- ADOS, 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 ADOS.
Yo, yo.
Wow, that never gets old. How you doing today, Moya?
I'm doing well, Kim. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing all right, Um, coming to get this political education in. There's been a lot going on with the Biden executive orders. So thank you for putting these nice slides together. Help me wrap my head around what's going on. It's such a flurry.
Yep. Let's do this. Let's do this.
All right, before we do that, let's take a look. From here to equality, reparations for Black Americans, why we do what we do. So this is in the 21st century. What it needs to look like. Just expand a little here. Nevertheless, for many Americans, in fact, of white owning Black people seemed a natural part of life, as natural as breathing. Few could have anticipated the drama that would unfold over the next 5 years. Indeed, in May 1860, a resolution adopted by the 36th U.S. Congress declared neither Congress nor a local legislator can abolish slavery. The federal government is in duty bound to protect slave owners as well as the holders of other forms of property in the territories. Moreover, President Buchanan's own temporizing over slavery and the growing secession sentiment in the southern states only fueled the momentum towards division of the nation and the onset of war. While heated debates over the Negro question were growing increasingly common, and some political groups called for bringing the rights of Blacks into closer conformity with the rights of all Americans, the anti slavery advocates' position remained a minority stance. Indeed, Buchanan did not aid their efforts, deliberately making no attempt to declare the anti slavery cause just and right.
Yep. Yeah, if for everyone, that's just a little excerpt from Here to Equality, written by Dr. Sandy Darity and his wonderful wife, Dr. Mullen. That's highly recommended. I think Antonio Moore has said that he's taken a lot of his work from Sandy Darity. Um, I'm actually in the middle of reading it out of many other books that I've read. I think Kim, have you read it yet, or did you like was the audiobook?
I listened to the audio file, and it was very, thorough recount of history, and I really laid out a foundation and groundwork for just why reparations is needed. How
Yeah,
far are you into it?
I'm like maybe almost halfway there. Yeah, I'm almost halfway there. It's just just so busy doing other stuff that I'm trying to get into finishing up finishing up. But no, it's a very informative read. A lot of the stuff I didn't know, some stuff I didn't know, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn and try to get our justice claim that's definitely owed.
Yeah, that's for sure. And fighting for that justice claim, who should we be reaching out to? The advocacy groups in order to, move this forward. Here's some ideas here. Black Agenda and Reparations Outreach. Is it the civil rights activists that we should be talking to? reparations organizations, media, outreaching to the media, legislation, celebrities, corporate entities, um, all of the above, I would think.
Yeah, this is 2021, and as people who are trying to fight for our claim. The question is who should we reach out to? Who should we try to get on board with this reparations? And how well did we do? As people in this fight, in reaching out. Because I mean, you really didn't even hear about AB 3121 specifically, in the news media outside of certain ADOS and certain other reparation activists pushing it. But I really didn't hear about AB 3121, and this is historic. You know,
Yeah,
um,
agreed. I saw, some write-ups about it, but there could definitely be more out there in the media. And who are some of our civil rights activists that we would reach out to?
I mean, people may feel a certain way, when I say about these individuals, but I mean, you could talk about the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons. They may not be a fan favorite, but they're still family. At the end of the day, and if everybody is pushing for the message, that's what it really gets down to. Is are you going to be down with the message? Because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't really think it really is about people worshiping. Because we're supposed to be about community, and that's the goal. you know I mean, because we all came over here. Well, I don't know, some people may debate about, some of us may have been here, but from my research, the majority of us came here on boats, from
Yeah,
Africa. So we got to take a look at, this is our tribe, and many of us, you can't even go back. We don't even know where we're from. That was taken away from us. So individuals like, as I mentioned, some celebrities. Peace out to Ice Cube for coming through. Maybe some media outlets like MSNBC, CNN. I really would really like us to see people who are pushing for reparations to be on, some of those platforms. And obviously, within the legislation, Warnock and all of them, we gotta really unite and start hitting these people up, so we can start pushing this agenda.
and then some of the civil rights activists that you mentioned, the Al Sharptons, they've been around for a very, very, very long time, and really haven't been vocal on reparations. Do you think they just need more information about it? Why do you think the silence um, on their part, or do they just need to shift their focus?
Um, yeah, that's a great question. Probably both. I mean, maybe, the information hasn't been, put to them where it's like, oh, this is plain. And, I mean, I'm sure they're probably historians in their own right. And I just think that the narrative has been told in a way now, that you can't deny it. And also, as I think somebody mentioned, um, peace out to Bruce. Yeah, I mean, totally gatekeepers, which I was eventually going to mention. When you have individuals who are supposed to basically keep the status quo, they're going to have to do their job trying to keep the status quo. But no matter what, we have to do a better job in terms of just getting them the message so they know. So it's like, oh, you can't run away from this. We told you what it is. Now you know.
So
And I think,
putting pressure on them, if
yeah.
if that's what's needed. Okay. All right. And I did see, I know we're going to talk about Biden's executive orders up next. I saw something about him um, demanding that the DOJ get rid of private sector prisons. But I don't think that was that an executive order or just a what recommendation, or is that something that's going to happen? Are those private system pipelines going to be abolished?
We'll see. I mean, who knows? I mean, until something, comes to fruition, I mean, we don't know. Um, I mean, politicians promise a lot of things and then they do something different. Um, I mean, I guess the question is, hopefully this will be a positive thing, for Black people specifically and American people in general. Um, but I mean, the prison complex has been, a pain in our butt since, we've got here. So, so we'll see. That's a great question.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eye on that. All right. Well, let's see what he really did do with his executive orders. 30 in the first 3 days. So we have resources, collection, bargaining power, and worker protections for federal workers, and lays the foundation for $15 minimum wage. And the yes by that is indicating that it's a reversal, or what's the yes telling me?
Yeah, that's cool. So anything basically that Trump put into play, he's reversing what.
Okay, so worker protections for federal workers are coming back, and $15 minimum wage. Okay, and then the next one we have calls for assistance to those who are struggling to buy food, missed out on stimulus checks, or are unemployed. Accelerates manufacturing and delivery of supplies for vaccination testing and personal protective equipment. Directs FEMA to expand reimbursement to the states to fully cover the cost of National Guard personal and emergency supplies. And these are related to coronavirus. And this next one is also related to coronavirus. Establishes a pandemic testing board to expand U.S. coronavirus testing capacity. Next one is also coronavirus related. Establishes a preclinical program to boost developmental or therapeutic in response to pandemic threats. All right. Another coronavirus related one. Enhances the nation's collection, production, sharing, and analysis of coronavirus data. All right. And the next one, also coronavirus related, directs FEMA and create federally supported community vaccination centers. And the rest of the ones on this page also all deal with coronavirus. So let's go through them. Directs the Department of Education and HHS to provide guidance for safety reopening and operating schools, child care providers, and institutions of higher education. Calls on Occupational Safety and Health Administration to release clear guidance on COVID-19, decide whether to establish emergency temporary standards, and directs OSHA to enforce worker health and safety requirements. Requires mask wearing in airports and on certain modes of transportation, including trains and planes and automobiles. No, but creates a COVID-19 health equity task force to help ensure an equitable pandemic response and recovery. And number 13, a presidential directive to restore America's leadership support international pandemic response effort, promotes resilience to the future threats, and advance global health security agenda. Oh, so that is a
Man,
lot of coronavirus related
I think that
executive orders that
good for
if we
you.
weren't in a pandemic, maybe he could have squeezed reparations in there. So I'm going to bring up the next slide and you can go over that, Yamoya.
Yeah, let's see. No reparations. Okay, so we got some more Corona stuff. He's gonna launch a 100 days masking challenge. Let's see. 15. Another coronavirus stops the United States withdrawal from the World Health Organization. So it looks like he's about to jump back in the WHO. That I guess your boy Trump decided not to become a part of that through the U.S. Another coronavirus creates a position of COVID-19 response
Well, back
coordinator.
to the WHO. Back to the WHO. It does look like a new development is Dr. Anthony Fauci will become the head delegation for WHO. That's positive, I guess. Go on. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, yeah, definitely appreciate that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who, some people have their um, issues with Dr. Fauci, but hey, if he's doing this thing, good for him. I'm glad he's going to be the head or possible head of who.
Yeah, he definitely became a familiar face during the whole pandemic.
Yeah, and before we go on, the one thing I will say about Dr. Fauci and I could be wrong, people in the comments, let us know how you feel about Dr. Fauci. At least he was pretty consistent, with his messaging as much as he could be, with Trump in office. At least he was like, okay, this is where we're at, so this is what we should do. He wasn't like, Trump said, spray yourself with Lysol or inject yourself with Lysol, whatever. He,
Right,
he didn't
right.
get on that bandwagon. So, shout out to Fauci on that level.
Shout out to Fauci.
All right. So let's see here. More corona stuff, vaccine, response coordinator reporting directly to Biden. Let's see, economy. Okay, let's move on to the economy stuff here. So it looks like he's going to extend the existing nationwide moratorium on evictions and foreclosures until at least March 31st.
Okay, there's something.
That's good.
A little uplift for all, a little left lift every voice.
Lift every voice and sing. The economy. Let's see here. Rejoins the. Okay, federal.
Before that, it looks like it extends this
Yeah.
existing pause on student loan payments and interest for American students. Yeah, until September 30th. But didn't he also sign something to forgive $10,000 worth of student loan debt? I thought I saw something like that too. So that's been a focus of this administration.
Yeah, I mean that's a positive. It's better than nothing. But we know how that goes.
Right.
With the interest rate that can accrue on student loans, that's just probably just going to just take off the interest for you.
I've heard other commentators say that as well.
So yeah, he definitely needs to go up on that one. So let's see, some environment news. Rejoins the Paris climate, and looks like that will take 30 days, I guess, to process to join the Paris climate. So that's a good thing. Another environment, cancels the Keystone XL pipeline. Peace out to the natives. All right. So it looks like he's gonna, try to, get rid of some of the pipelines that are going on. Let's see what else here. Equity. All right. Rescinds the Trump administration's 1776 commission, directs agencies to review their actions to ensure racial equity. Okay. Well, yeah. We'll see how that one goes. Another equity. Let's see. Prevents workplace discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. All right. Shout out to the LGBTQ community. Census. requires non-citizens to be included in the census, and let's see, apportionment of congressional representatives. All right, no comment. Immigration. Let's see. Fortifies DACA. Immigration, let's see. Reverses the Trump administration's restrictions on U.S. entry for passport holders from 7 Muslim majority countries. Immigration undoes Trump's expansion of immigration enforcement within the United States. Now, the immigration halts construction of the border wall. That, obviously Trump was trying to get that built. Another immigration piece and another immigration piece. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, last one, 29 and 30. Ethics requires executive branch appointees to sign an ethics pledge, barring them from acting in personal interest and requiring them to uphold the independence of the Department of Justice, DOJ. And regulation directs OMB, Office of Management and Budget, to develop recommendations to modernize regulatory review and undo Trump's regulatory approval process. Yeah, everything but black folk.
All right. It looks like immigration and coronavirus ran off with the bag on that one. Looks like they're putting in some checks and balances, regulatory checks and balances. I don't know why those things weren't in place in the first place, that you have to have integrity and such to be an appointed official, but I guess things take time.
Yep.
Takes time in progress. All right. So that was the first 3 days, and what we're about a week or so out. What, the 20th? Today's 26th or something like that. Okay. So they say his first 100 days is the important days to see what he does in the first 100 days. Do you think maybe he'll have a little surprise in that bag of executive order tricks for us, or a long road to hoe?
Yeah, I don't know, fam, out there. You guys think that Biden's going to do anything at all for black people in the
That
first
put him in office, gave him the Senate.
Yeah, let's see. Anyone? Yeah. Yeah, no, probably not.
A lot of crickets there.
A lot of
Okay.
crickets.
All right. Well, so maybe we just need to register our own political party. Let's see what the options are on that. Federal Election Commission information. Registering as a political party. Forming a new national or state political party organization. New party organizations must register with the FEC when they raise or spend money over a certain threshold in connection with a federal election. The FEC determines if a committee has demonstrated enough national or state activity to qualify as a national or state party committee. Before taking advantage of higher contribution limits available to these party committees, a committee will have to ask for an FEC advisory option to verify that it has attained national or state committee status. If a party organization will be active only in a state or local election, it doesn't need to register with the FEC. Forming a local branch of existing political party, for example, Republican, Libertarian, or Green Party, local branches must register their party organization with the FEC when they raise or spend money over a certain threshold in connection with federal election. Okay, when a local party organization is required to register with the FEC, it becomes a local party committee. A local party committee is presumed to be affiliated with other federal party committees in its state. Affiliated committees share limits on contributions made and received. All right, so that doesn't sound um, too terribly complicated. Uh, you think that's what we need?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think, um, we definitely need a political party, because as the next upcoming slides, we're gonna go into some of the current political parties that are currently active,
Well,
and
first, the next slide is actually regarding thresholds, spending thresholds, and what all that means. If you could just walk us through that really briefly.
all right, let's do it. Registering as a political party committee. Party committees must register within 10 days of exceeding any of the following thresholds in a calendar year. After registering, the committee will need to file regular reports of its activity. So on the state or national organization threshold, raises or spends more than $1,000 in contributions or expenditures. Local organization thresholds raises more than $5,000 in contributions, spends more than $1,000 on contributions, and spends more than $5,000 on exempt party activities. And then it goes in how to register. And if anybody is interested with actually registering a political party, you can go onto the FEC website. But yeah, those thresholds are definitely doable. I mean, I guess the question that we have to ask ourselves are we up to the task of actually legally, performing these political parties?
Yeah.
And it's going to be one big political party. Is it going to be many political parties, or like, you know, because the way that we're going, definitely the Republicans and the Democrats haven't, done really too much anything, on the behalf of Black people of any substance. So, you know,
True. Yeah, the thresholds, like you said, they seem reasonable. So, getting the funding together, but it would just be organizing and, the commitment, because once you get a party in there, you also need the votes. Let's look at some other parties that have been successful in registering a party. But they don't always last, and we still have the two majority party system, with the Democrats and the Republicans. Um, I mean, it seems like they have that monopoly. Even if there are other parties, they're still the two that. The
um,
Green Party. Okay. So
yeah,
what we're looking at here, this little block of three parties, third parties represented in state legislatures. So that means that they have representatives serving in the legislature, I
right,
take it.
right
And
on the
then
state
up
levels.
on the other side, we have not represented in Congress. And Green Party is there, so they don't even have any congressional representation. But like you said, you do at least hear of them. They seem to gain some ground and momentum during election seasons. I think a lot of people are passionate about the environment. So that's one reason. The Libertarian Party, that's another one that I hear about. They've been around since 1971, so they've had some staying power. Vermont Progressive Party, never heard of them. The Alliance Party, they're relatively new, 2019. And then again, we've got the Green Party, Working Families Party, Conservative Party of New York State, Party for Socialism and Libertarian, American Independent Party, Consultation Party, Peace and Freedom Party, American Solidarity Party, Legal Marijuana Now Party, Socialist Worker Parties, Unity Party, Reform Party, Oregon Progressive Party, Prohibition Party, Natural Law Approval. There's quite a few on there. How many had you heard of besides the Green Party?
The only other one outside of the Green Party is Peace and Freedom Party, the Socialism Party, or the Socialist Party. Maybe the Socialist Workers Party. That's Castroism, and I think they, come out of the Cuban Revolution. I could be wrong, but I think the Socialist Workers Party.
Okay.
Um, but that's about it. I mean, and if anybody's, down for some ganja, they wanna if they
Legal marijuana
hey,
now party, yeah.
hey,
Um,
you
at
know,
least they were successful in pushing their agenda, that party. So,
yeah, that's true. I think what California and Oregon, I think it's now legal in California and Oregon. I don't know if anybody else has legalized marijuana yet. Can't wait till they get a federal, you know, legalization going on
yeah,
the
I heard that that's in the works. I thought that that was in the works. I saw a headline on it. Don't quote me though. But see, we have some defunct parties also down here, and in that group we have the Black Panther Party, Black Nationalism, 1966 to 1982. They are inactive. Non-electoral organization, African People's Socialist Party, 1972. And then we had the new Black Panther Party in 1989 and the Black Writer Liberation Party of 1996. So at least four parties there that tried to gain some steam for Black liberation.
well, and that's something else. I mean, we as ADOS in lineage, and also with however you want to coin the term, Black Americans. Um, those some of those individuals, the new Black Panther Party, and I think it's the Black Writers and the Yehuda movement. Now, I think the Yehuda movement, I think they might be more Pan African, but regardless, I think it's something that we need to start reaching out to these people so they just know, hey, we got to fight for reparations here. I think we got to do a better job just getting out the information and start getting our spreading our wings a little bit.
Were
Just
any of the Black liberation parties around while you were old enough to vote?
um I
Yes.
think I don't think so. I think the Black Panther Party was defunct. And then um yeah, the only one, but I wasn't even familiar with them until like relatively a couple years ago, was the Yehuda movement, which started in '72. I can't remember the brother's name, Omotali or something like that. Yeah, I'm totally jacking up his name. But yeah, that brother, very powerful. But yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
the one who started the African People's Socialist Party. But yeah, I didn't even know about the Black Writers Liberation Party. To be honest.
Yeah, that's the only one I think I was old enough for, and doesn't have an end date for this new Black Panther Party. I think I remember hearing something about them, but yeah, I wasn't old enough to vote then. And the Black Writers Liberation Party is new to me, so um, it's doable. It's doable.
Definitely.
All right. So now that we've got the data, what now?
That's the question. What's the next step, family? You know, um, where are we going to go from here? We got the data. Um, is it just about pushing out the message? Is it about trying to get these laws passed just for reparations? What happened, what's going to happen after, do we have a plan for when we do get these reparations? What does that look like? You know, do we need to take some, financial reparations class? So, we know how to spend it within our own, communities, within our own, so that that so-called dollar circulates. And what are we doing, beyond just thinking about, getting reparations? And I mean, let's be real, and I'm just gonna put it out there. I mean, there is a possibility that we may never see reparations. I mean, do we have a plan B, C, D, or E, F, G, H, I to the Z? You
I
know?
mean, well, the data, if we're talking about data, the data that we've seen says that on the current trajectory that Black people are on, that there is no plan, and set to become a wealthless group um, in the coming years.
Yeah. I mean, and, the wealth data is there. Antonio Moore, especially via your Dr. Darity, has laid it out, for the people. And, other statisticians and economists have done a very good job, you know, to give us that information. But the question is, like, what are we going to do with it right now? I mean, these are the questions that we always have to ask, with our families, with our friends, with our community. What's the next step? What are we planning? Are we planning, just for tomorrow because we just want to survive, or are we going to plan like, okay, we're going to get these reparations, and then what are we going to build industries? What type of industries are going to rebuild? What industries are currently available? What industries in the future are we looking at? I mean, there's a lot of things to plan instead of just saying, okay, well, we just need to get reparations. Yeah, we do, but what are we going to do with it? So, I mean, that's
Yeah, well, I know I'm interested in, keeping the political advocacy and education going to the pipeline, as we've learned through, this politically um, active season, is how important it is, um, to get people to even listen to your agenda and take your interest into consideration. I mean, if you're not pushing for it, if you're not right there at the door pushing for it, they'll just be like, they must not want it.
yep, that's true. That's why we just got to keep pushing the message, as hard as we possibly can.
Yeah, yeah, and keep our political allies. And speaking of which, Governor Gavin Newsom here, who did sign the historic AB 3121 reparations task force bill into law. Looks like there's been recall campaigns circulating, and this is nothing new. There have been recall campaigns for Governor Gavin Newsom even before he signed the AB 3121, but I believe with the coronavirus, they've um, found renewed interest.
Yeah, let me read a little bit from the article from KCRW. It says a campaign to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom claims to have collected more than 1.2 million signatures from Californians, mostly out of Orange County. KCRW looks like they talk with regular contributor Gustavo Orellano. Sorry about that, brother. Just totally messed your name up. About the recall efforts. And then looks like KCRW asks, who's behind this recall effort? And Gustavo says, anyone who fits into the rogues galleries of Orange County Republicans. So now you have honorary chairs ranging from the current OC GOP chair, Fred Whitaker, to former OC GOP chairs. Supervisor Don Wagner, former Anaheim Mayor Kirk Pringle, even going back into the old school like Dick Ackerman, dang, who used to be a state senator from Fullerton. So yeah, it looks like these Republicans are, it looks like they're really trying to go after, Governor Gavin Newsom, who happens to be, a Democrat. And once again, going back to that, political party chart, you have these back and forth, Republican versus Democrat, Democrat versus Republican. And you got black people just kind of out in the wind, just not part of both parties, the Democrat and the Republican, not getting nothing done, while they're going back and forth, uh, talking what they're talking. We're sitting back, unfortunately, not organizing um, in a better fashion that I think we can. We've organized before, from SNCC, especially, to other civil rights movements. Um, Obviously, the Black Panther Party. And so forth. Shout out to ADOS, I mean, even though ADOS family is organizing, hey, shout out to Cobra. I mean, in Cobra, I know some people might have issues with Cobra and what they're doing, but hey, they've been in the fight, for a minute. So, we're just trying to continue on the legacy of our ancestors who first came, to these lands. And we've been fighting since then, since we first got over here,
Right, right. And organizing during a pandemic, no less, with the ADOS movement had a lot of momentum over the summer during a pandemic. Obviously, the challenges of COVID make traditional organizing as we know it, very, very different. Um,
Yeah,
how
for
can we
sure.
more effectively organize during this time of social distancing and uh, just real isolation?
Yeah, I mean, the best way right now, I guess, to do it is, like what everybody else is doing, tweeting. Get your Twitter fingers on, people. Yeah,
But
if you
there
got,
is a lot to be lost in translation on
yeah,
Twitter.
yeah, and let's just keep it real. I think people, um, unfortunately, just get involved in social media way too much, and instead of trying to have a conversation, a one-off conversation, people start making um, fictional things in their head, instead of either going directly to that person who made it and say, hey, what did you mean by that? Or people just make up their own interpretation and start running, and then next thing you have hearsay, and somebody's saying this and somebody's saying that. Yeah, if you guys do want to call in, here, let me put up the call number. We're probably going to be getting out of here in about 5 minutes, so if you do want to call in, fam, go ahead and call in, and if whatever you want to talk about, if you can limit it not to cursing, we greatly appreciate it. I know sometimes, we get a little frustrated and, we want to take it out. But yeah, if you guys want to call in, go ahead and give us a ring. But yeah, fam, we're going to be wrapping it up short.
Yeah. But like you said, back to the social media, when you're limited by characters and, just getting the information out there, it can be taken out of context or taken a different fashion. That's why what we do here with the video channels and the other YouTubers out there, it gives you an opportunity to call in and ask questions and get feedback. So that's an effective tool, I think, in this age.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, and well, here's some of the problem, because I know, Cam, you've worked in media for a while. I've worked in media for a while, and this has been a new phenomenon. Especially in going online, in terms of access to social media, etc. But like when we create platforms like this, right? It's really for to hear the people and what the people have to say at the end of the day. You know, um, being in media and in journalism for over, I'm about to date myself, over 15 years easily involved in media. It's always about integrity, and it's always about giving two sides of the story. I know sometimes we may not like to hear the other side, but as a journalist, it's important that other people have their say at the same time. And so that's one reason why we wanted to create specifically this platform and platforms like this, and call it community call-in, because we're really serious and genuine about hearing from people. Like, we're just not on here just to be on here. We really want to hear from people. And hey, if you say something that people disagree with, you have a right to do that. It's your First Amendment. That's the whole point about being an American, right? Is that you could say what you want to say. And regardless on what platform it is, you do have the right to say it. Now, I think the difference between this and going on Twitter, and causing havoc, is a little something different. And we could just use Trump, as an example. But just when it comes to just trying to create, community and journalism in general, journalism is really about trying to be factual at the end of the day, dealing with facts. I know we have the entertainment.
Back to the data.
Yeah, back to the data. That's what it really, really is about, to have some journalistic integrity. Unfortunately, some of these YouTubers and even some of these media outlets just be making stuff up, just to you get likes, to get shares, and don't stick to the facts.
I've seen the trend, and it started, a few years ago, where news outlets, what they consider news is they just grab Twitter posts, and that's the whole story. A little context, and then they just put the Twitter post and let you see it there, and that's the journalism of today.
Yep. Yep. And some people don't even do their fact check. They'll put something out there, and then it goes viral, and then everybody's all over it, instead of doing, like, hey, I mean, like, we didn't, when I was in college, dating myself again, like, we didn't have the Google, you know what I mean? Like, as it is today, like, you could just type something in, boom. I mean, but you still have to do your due diligence and research it, just to make sure that the source is correct, before you just start going off. But yeah, I mean,
How would you recommend doing that? How would you recommend people research their content for accuracy?
well, I think you have to look at more than 2 or 3 sources, right? So if something's said, then it should be verified by multiple sources before you call it newsworthy or worthy of facts anywhere, right? Because if you just got one person saying it and you don't have, any other evidence behind what is being said, then it could be just hearsay. I mean, and technically, I guess it could be hearsay if multiple people said it, right? But if other people are actually fact checking it as well, and you go to that source and you say, oh, okay, well, they said this here, oh yeah, well, they said this here, oh yeah, they said this there, and you go back to, as much as you can, the original source material, then
So you can at least feel reassured that other people are reporting on it. And I have a story about that. When Michael Jackson died, rest in peace, I say, um,
some power.
TMZ was the first to break the story. And then, just a random coworker was like, oh, Michael Jackson died, woo, woo, woo. And then, of course, I'm in shock. So I go spread it like wildfire, call my mama, call my sister, tell everybody I know. And then one guy I told, he was like, TMZ, he was like, that's like a tabloid. That's just like, a tabloid rag. That's not verified news. And I swear for like 10 minutes at least, or maybe more, the information was not on any other websites. Because then after I spread the news, everybody starts researching, like you said, looking at the reputable news sites to see if the information was there. And it was not there for what seemed like forever. And then finally the other news stations started breaking it. But from then on, I started trusting TMZ as a news source, and they actually were on top of breaking news. So I guess it's building your reputation too as being accurate news source.
Yeah, TMZ, is a very interesting program. But hey, they try to be as reliable as they possibly can be.
But
That's
check other sources.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if TMZ says something, I mean, it could be 50-50. So definitely do your due diligence.
All right, all right. I'm with you on that. Um, so the last time we were here, or maybe time before, we were talking about orders being lifted in Sacramento. We usually close out with a little bit of COVID information. Um, I know that Governor Gavin Newsom just lifted some more restrictions. Do you have any idea of what we're able to do now that we weren't able to do before?
The only thing that I'm aware of, I know they have uh some of the I could be incorrect, but I know that they have outdoor seating now. There's still no indoor seating. As far as Northern California specifically, I know the Sacramento area. I think LA might still be on lockdown. I don't know. I haven't checked the status down there. I know they got hit hard with COVID, 19. So, their stay at home order still might be in effect. Um, but yeah, it's just one day at a time with this, COVID-19. Um, but yeah, I think what else? Oh yeah, I think some what do they call them? Barbershops and hair salons might be open as well.
Okay, okay. So opening up a little bit there. And I know that they are beefing up the vaccine rollout. Um,
Yeah, which in the future we're definitely gonna have to, talk about the vaccine because there's a lot of things going on, a lot of movement. Um, some positive. Looks like Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris, took the vaccine shot, and her family, or at least her husband, took the shot. I think Fauci took the shot. Um, and I don't even know which one they took. I don't know if it was Moderna or Visine, one of the ones. So, um, we're definitely gonna have to have a show on that one because, and hopefully we can get, you know, our last panelist back because that was a wonderful build and a wonderful conversation. Uh,
yeah, to see if there's any more information out there on it. I know some people were alarmed after Hank Aaron took the shot, and then we sadly lost him a couple weeks after he took the shot. Uh, I just hope that, older people have the immune and stamina to, make it through these shots, because I even heard of cases in Norway where, they gave the vaccine to nursing home patients that ended up passing away shortly after. So,
yep. Yeah. So I would definitely like to talk with people who are more informed, about it.
all right. So, do we have any other questions out there in the comments? No calls coming in today, but we're going to keep this political education and information coming to you. So, don't be shy. Give us a call.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks everyone for joining the call. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate your time that you're spending, on this, these wonderful topics, so we can, fight for, our justice claim, here in this country.
Definitely. All right. Signing off.
Peace.